Hi guys! So it has been a very long time, as you all know, and I apologize for that. I have been so bad about uploading, but I am so excited to bring this video to you guys today because I feel like this is a topic I haven't seen covered a whole lot. This is something very simple. This is something you should know as soon as you start acting because it's going to help you when you go into an audition room and you're auditioning with someone, or if you're in acting class, or if you booked a job. Regardless, you need to know this, so I am making a video on how to be a good scene partner and how to connect with your scene partner. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. So I have a scene in my acting class right now with my friend Steve, and it is a very intense scene. It's an abusive scene, and it really got me thinking about how you need to make sure you're super comfortable with your scene partner. You need to make sure you really can trust them and they can trust you, and that you know boundaries and you discuss things like this and you make sure you communicate. I'm going to start by giving you guys some exercises that you can practice with your scene partner. Now, this one can feel a little bit uncomfortable. My coach Pamela taught me this. This is more so for if you have a scene where you have a lot of physical contact. This can help if you know where you're allowed to touch. So basically she has us sit next to each other. We both close our eyes. You take the person's hand and you run it all over your body wherever they're allowed to touch you. You guide their hand. If they're allowed to touch your hair, you can put it on your hair. If they can touch your arm, your collarbone, your neck, if they can't touch that, you don't put their hand there. So then they know, they're very clear about their boundaries, where they're allowed to touch, where you're okay with it, and then they should know where it's not okay. Very simple exercise, very awkward, especially when you're doing it in an acting class, but it does help. It does make you feel a lot more comfortable with it, at least in my experience. I've done it about 3 times. So that is a good thing to do, especially if you have a very high physicality scene. So the next exercise is a Meisner exercise. I'm sure you guys have seen me talk about it on my channel before, but it's basically repetition. So you pick something on them and then you don't focus on it after that, you're just connecting with them. So I might say you're wearing jeans, but after that you don't make it about the jeans, you're just making it about them. Keeping eye contact, and you go back and forth. I'm wearing jeans, you're wearing jeans, I'm wearing jeans, you're wearing jeans. And the purpose of this is you don't have to worry about the dialogue. You just pick up slight changes in the way they're saying the lines, and you can kind of tell, like, maybe they're uncomfortable, maybe they think it's funny. You're just kind of picking up on the behavior. And then once you've done that for a while, you can move on to the next stage, and you can do something like, you're wearing a dress. Oh, I'm wearing a dress. That makes you happy. Yeah, that makes me feel really good. Oh, that makes me so happy that you feel good. Oh, I appreciate that. You know, you go back and forth however you're feeling. You say whatever you're feeling. Oh, I'm uncomfortable. You're pissing me off. You're making me feel awkward. I feel whatever you're feeling. You're just pinpointing what you're feeling, what they're feeling, how they're making you feel. Another thing you can do to help connect is literally stare into their eyes for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. If you look away, if either one of you looks away, you stop the timer, start it over. 2 minutes. Don't say a word. You're just staring at them. And I feel like you learn a lot about the person from that, which is interesting since you're not saying anything, but I feel like you can learn more from that than you can from words sometimes. It's kind of cool to see. I've seen it done. I've done it. I've seen people like sitting there and they'll start laughing, and then they get really serious, and then they start crying, and then the other person starts crying, and then they're smiling together. It's really sweet. It's amazing to see the emotional connection, so recommend that for sure. Another very simple thing to help you connect with your scene partner is get to know them. Especially if you have an intense scene, I like to get to know my scene partners. I like to talk to them, I like to hang out with them, I make plans to meet up with them, we make plans to practice, and it just helps. Just treat them as a friend. And lucky for me, almost all of my scene partners are like some of my favorite people ever, so I'm totally good with that. It can be harder sometimes though, because every once in a while you'll get a scene partner that you don't feel comfortable with, or they don't feel comfortable with you for some reason. Maybe it's just really awkward or uncomfortable, but make that effort to go a little bit further and like ask them to go to coffee and just communicate and talk about your lives together, and it's going to help you understand each other more. It's going to build some trust, and you need trust for your scenes, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. So you need to have a foundation of trust for your scene partner. You need to trust them because, again, referring back to my scene with my friend Steve, that's a really intense scene, and he's throwing me around a lot. I need to make sure I can trust, like, if something goes wrong, like, either one of us can kind of fix it. We need to have that trust in each other, just like you need to have with all of your scene partners, and that can be hard to build, which is why you need to, like, hang out and talk to your scene partners and communicate your feelings about the scene, communicate if there's something in the scene that makes you uncomfortable. And it's great because I definitely 110% trust my scene partner. He's amazing, and we have a good connection going, and I definitely don't feel uncomfortable whatsoever. So you need to get you a scene partner like him. He's always asking me if there's something that's okay to do in the scene or if it makes me uncomfortable. So you need that kind of communication with each other. Get you a Steve for a scene partner. My friend Matthew, we did a film together, and he was so amazing when we did our scene. He was super helpful and concerned and communicative with me. So you just need to find, I don't know how I get so lucky with these incredible scene partners and just like incredible people in general. I just, so lucky. You need to communicate boundaries. You need to communicate if there's something they can do to make you feel less uncomfortable, if there's something going on maybe that's making it harder for you. You need to communicate your feelings, and you need to connect with them on a deeper emotional level. And I promise you, your scenes are going to be so much better. So you need to make sure you trust your scene partners and that they trust you. You need to build a foundation of trust. If you have a physical scene, especially if you have like an intimate scene, you need to trust the person. They need to know their boundaries. You need to know your boundaries. And you need to communicate that with each other, because it's going to make the scene more comfortable. And it's just going to show up on camera. You can see more of a chemistry on camera when you guys are friends. You've been communicating. You've been learning things about each other and building trust and a friendship. You can see more of a chemistry on camera. I have a 3-person scene with my friends Taylor and Sarah, and it's a 20-minute scene. When one of us forgets a line, we need to be able to trust that the other person is going to be able to pick up from the next line, or almost not feed you the line in a way that it would look like they're feeding you a line, but maybe make a line in there, just improv a line that would cue you to say your line, but one that would make sense, if that makes sense. So it's good to know that you can trust that if something happens like that, maybe a wardrobe malfunction or something going on with the props or something with the lines, anything at all really, that person's there for you, and they're there to help the scene get back on track. It's really important. It's good to ask your scene partner, what do you need from me? Is there anything I can do to make it easier or better for you? And they should be asking you the same thing, because it is all about teamwork. Scenes are all about teamwork. It's not going to work if one person is half in, half out of the scene. You need to make sure that you're in it together and you're doing the best you can, and you're trying new things and figuring out what works for the both of you. You need to really listen to your partner and work off of them. Now, it's so easy to pre-plan the scene and pre-perceive exactly the way it's going to go, but that just doesn't work. It's good to make choices, but it does not work when you plan every little thing. So you need to really listen to your partner. Maybe they're going to do it a completely different way, and you can't let it throw you off because you didn't practice it that way. You need to be able to work well off of them. Take in what they're giving you and react the way you would react. Try and make the scene about them. Really focus on your scene partner. This is going to bring out a lot more natural reactions, and you're not going to be so self-conscious about, ooh, what does my face look like right now? What do I do with my body right now? It's going to come off more natural if you're really just putting the focus on your scene partner. So lastly, I just want to talk about communication. Make sure you're good at communicating with your partners. Make sure you're both on the same page, but also make sure you are being available for them. Try and figure out your schedules. That can be one of the hardest things for having scene partners, is figuring out your schedules and times to rehearse. Make sure you guys can figure something out. I've had scene partners that I had to email for workshops before, and we had to work on a scene together. I was like, hey, let's Skype, let's work on this beforehand. And they never wrote back to me, so when we got to the workshop, it was awkward and uncomfortable, and we weren't really prepared because we never rehearsed. So make sure that you are there and you're available for your scene partner. Keep up the communication. Let them know if you can't make it to rehearse. Like, I feel like this is common knowledge, but communicate with your scene partner. Do not ignore them, because I've had it happen. Make sure they know your schedule, you know their schedule, work something out, and make the scene incredible. I think that pretty much covers it, guys. Those are my biggest tips for connecting with your scene partner and being a good scene partner. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please send me any video requests you have. I have a couple in the works that I was planning on filming with a couple of my acting friends, and I think you guys would really enjoy that. So just let me know down below what you want to see next on my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video.